Compressed gas cylinder safety procedures. Compressed gas cylinders handling. Do not drag or slide cylinders, even for short distances. Drop cylinders or permit them to strike each other violently. Subject cylinders to mechanical shocks that may cause damage to their valves. Use cylinders as rollers for moving material or other equipment. Tamper with pressure relief devices. Permit oil, grease, or other readily combustible substances to come in contact with cylinders, valves, or other equipment in oxidizer service. Remove any product labels or shipping hazard labels. Refill compressed gas cylinders. This is to be done only by qualified producers of compressed gases. Lift a cylinder by its cap using a sling or a magnet. Attempt to catch a falling cylinder. Compressed gas cylinders handling. Do move cylinders using a suitable hand truck or cart. Leave the valve protection cap and valve seal outlet in place until the cylinder has been secured in place and is ready to be used. Secure cylinders when in storage, transit, or use. When returning cylinders to the supplier, properly close the cylinder valve, replace and secure any valve outlet seals, and properly install the cylinder cap. Use a cylinder cage or cradle to lift a cylinder. Use the proper PPE for cylinder handling. Safe handling practices. Ensure cylinders are properly labeled when received. Do not accept cylinders that are not labeled. Do not add, remove, or alter any cylinder markings or labels. Wear eye protection, safety shoes, and work gloves when handling cylinders. When a cylinder or valve is corroded or malfunctioning, contact the gas supplier for assistance. Do not modify or repair any part of the cylinder, including the pressure relief device and valve. Use a gas cylinder hand truck or approved lifting device to move cylinders. Properly secure cylinders to transport device. Never lift cylinders by the valve cap. Valve caps shall be in place and hand tightened when cylinders are in storage or being transported. Cylinders should not be used as rollers, supports, or for any purpose other than to contain and use the contents, as received from the supplier. Compressed gas cylinders storage. Do not allow storage temperature to exceed 125 degrees Fahrenheit, 52 degrees Celsius. Permit smoking or open flames in oxidizer or flammable gas storage areas. Expose cylinders to corrosive materials such as ice-melting compounds. Compressed gas cylinders storage. Do store cylinders in accordance with ISO standard. Store cylinders upright with valve outlet seals and valve protection caps in place. Secure cylinders when in storage. Store cylinders in areas designated for that purpose. Segregate full and empty cylinders. Store cylinders in a dry, cool, well-ventilated, secure area protected from the weather and away from combustible materials. Ensure that there is adequate separation from combustibles as specified by national regulations. Monitor the atmosphere in areas where gases may vent and collect. Store only the amount of compressed gas required for the specific application. Store cylinders away from heavily traveled areas and emergency exits. Provide adequate access for cylinder handling. Visually inspect stored cylinders on a routine basis, or at least weekly, for any indication of leakage or problems. Restrict access to cylinder storage areas. Protect cylinders from wet or damp ground. Safe storage practices. Minimize the number of cylinders in use and storage with a just-in-time ordering process. Avoid storing cylinders in hallways, near elevators, heavily traveled areas, or near exits. Cylinders must not obstruct exit routes, electrical panels, or emergency equipment. Cylinders must not be stored where moving objects may strike or fall on them. All cylinders in service or storage must be secured to prevent falling or rolling. Store in an upright position and secure with a bracket, chain, or low stretch strap around the upper third of the cylinder, above the center of gravity, or with equivalent method. Store and use cylinders in well-ventilated locations that do not exceed 125 degrees Fahrenheit or 52 degrees Celsius. Storage areas must be prominently posted with the hazard class or the name of the gases stored. For example, hydrogen flammable gas, no smoking, no open flames. Empty cylinders should be segregated from full cylinders and shall be marked or tagged empty. Cylinders should not be placed where they may become part of an electrical circuit. Proper use of compressed gases. Do not attempt to mix gases in a cylinder. Insert an object, for example, wrench, screwdriver, etc., into valve cap openings to remove a stuck cylinder cap. Doing so may damage or open the valve, causing a leak to occur. Use an adjustable strap wrench to remove over-tight or rusted caps. Allow any part of a cylinder to be exposed to temperatures exceeding 125 degrees Fahrenheit, 52 degrees Celsius. Permit cylinders to become part of an electrical circuit. Use oxygen as a substitute for compressed air. Strike an arc on a cylinder. Return product into a cylinder. Introduce another product into a cylinder. Discharge the contents from any gas cylinder directly toward any person. Refill any non-refillable cylinder after use of the original contents. Proper use of compressed gases. Do know and understand the gases and associated equipment you will be using. Refer to the supplier's MSDS to determine the proper PPE and any other special requirements for the gas being used. Secure cylinders when in storage, transit, or use. Use regulators approved for the specific gas. Leak test lines and equipment with an inert gas before using. Use regulators and pressure relief devices when connecting cylinders to piping circuits with lower pressure service ratings. Use check valves to prevent reverse flow into the cylinder. Loosen the valve outlet seal slowly when preparing to connect a cylinder. Open cylinder valves slowly and carefully after the cylinder has been connected to the process. Stand clear of the regulator and valve outlet while opening the valve. Prevent sparks and flames from contacting cylinders. Safe use practices. Never use a compressed gas cylinder when the contents are unknown. Gas delivery lines must be clearly labeled to identify the gas. Valves shall be kept closed at all times except when the cylinder is in use. Valve outlets should be pointed away from personnel when the valve is being opened. Use a check valve to prevent reverse flow into cylinder. Ensure that the regulator and valve fittings are compatible and free of dust and dirt. Do not use Teflon tape or other sealants when attaching regulators. Slowly open the valve. If there is difficulty operating a cylinder valve, discontinue use and contact the supplier. HSE office and Precautions should also be notified about this issue. Open the valve all the way to the open position and then close it a quarter turn back. This will help prevent the valve from being stuck open. Never insert an object into valve cap openings. Doing so may damage the valve, causing a leak to occur. Do not tamper with or modify valves, regulators, or safety devices. Do not direct compressed gas streams toward any person. This could cause serious injury to the eye or body. Piping, regulators, and other apparatus shall be kept gas-tight to prevent leakage. Use a compatible leak test solution or an appropriate leak detection instrument to test connections. Before a regulator is removed, close the container valve and relieve the regulator of gas pressure. Precautions for flammable gases. Flammable gases shall be stored in well-ventilated areas away from oxidizers, open flames, sparks, and other heat and ignition sources. All lines and equipment associated with flammable gas systems shall be grounded and bonded. Cylinders containing flammable gases, empty or full, that are not in use must be separated from cylinders containing oxidizers, empty or full, by a minimum distance of 20 feet or by a barrier at least 5 feet high which has a fire resistance rating of at least 1/2 hour. A maximum of 2 full-size cylinders of flammable gas are permitted in one lab or work area without prior review and approval by the HSE office. If possible, use flow restrictors or limiters to prevent a sudden flow of gas in the event of a rupture or leak. An open flame must never be used to detect leaks of flammable gases. Acetylene cylinders must be stored, handled with valve end up. Precautions for toxic gases. Cylinders larger than lecture bottles, approximately 2x15, must be kept in a certified gas cabinet or other equivalent engineered enclosure that vents directly outside. Lecture bottle-sized gas cylinders should be used and stored in a fume hood or ventilated enclosure. Gas detection systems may be required in labs or work areas that use toxic gases. Contact the HSE office for assistance. Precautions for oxygen and oxidizing gases. Do not permit oil or grease to come in contact with compressed oxidizing gases, regulators or fittings. Do not store or use near flammable solvents, combustible materials or near unprotected electrical connections, heat, and other sources of ignition. Precautions for corrosive gases. Cylinders should be periodically checked to ensure that the valve has not corroded. If a cylinder or valve is noticeably corroded, the gas supplier should be contacted for assistance. HSE and procurement should also be notified about this issue. Use caution if flow does not immediately start when a valve is opened slightly. If the valve or delivery system could be obstructed, contact the gas supplier for assistance. HSE and procurement should also be notified about this issue.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.